Dum dum to get to get to get to get to get. Hey, let's go.
Now you see why your music career failed.
And you're listening to Smooth, the 98.1 Love Music, Love Life. Good morning to you, and you are listening to the Smooth Breakfast Show. It's time for Freshly Pressed 981. My name is Judith TV. Joining me live in the studio today is Lakunle and Devo Okore. Guys, good morning to you.
Good morning, Judith. Good morning, Divo. Good morning, Lagos.
Lakunle? Sorry, Devo.
Good morning, Lagos.
Aha, there we are.
Morning,
That's
Lakunle,
the voice.
Judith,
Mm-hmm.
and my people. A cool holiday vaccine mandate.
Uh-huh. Let's get started, shall we? Join the conversation. Send us a WhatsApp message to 0809 444 0981. Again, 0809 444 0981. We're streaming live on YouTube, so go onto YouTube there. Go onto our channel, Smooth981, and catch us on YouTube there to stream us live. We're streaming right now up on our YouTube page. All right, let's get started, shall we, guys? Let's do it. So we're going to take the very first story here from it's from the Guardian newspaper, and I'm coming to you, Devo, for this one. Lagos issues strict guidelines for social events at for the Yuletide period. The Lagos State government yesterday issued guidelines for social events and gatherings within the state during the festive season. Making the disclosure in a statement, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu said all social events must be duly registered to obtain events safety clearance from the Lagos State Safety Commission website. Now, he explained where possible events should be held in an outdoor space. Occupancy limit at any event must not exceed 60% of the maximum design capacity of the commission. Every attendee of a social gathering must present his or her vaccination card or digital barcode page showing at least first dose, but preferably double dose full vaccination. Now, the story goes on, but Devo, help us simplify it. Thank you.
Well, this was the coup in the vaccine mandates. And literally, what I'm saying here is that Lagos State is introducing indirectly a vaccine mandate and informally. And we really hadn't been discussing this for some time now. I think some states that had attempted were Edo, Kaduna, and even the federal government with civil servants on December 1, which obviously has been postponed. However, um, Lagos State made this announcement to the governor regarding the guidelines and protocols for events and social gatherings within this Yuletide season. Now, the truth is, it is in line. However, okay, let me hold the analysis to the end. This mandate, first of all, starts with getting clearance from the Safety Commission to be able to host the event via the website, meaning that your event has to be registered. Now, I don't know whether um, they're going to have they're going to have you require approval, meaning you have to wait for a response. It's not stated here. Secondly, it speaks to and this is where the vaccine mandate comes in, that everybody must produce, that's the 60% who are allowed within the venue space, must produce their vaccine card. Either they've done one vaccine or two vaccines. And irrespective of their vaccine status, they have to take a rapid test, okay, within on that day, okay, if they don't have a PCR test that was done 3 days or 72 hours before then. Now, in testing temperatures, which are some of the basic non-PIs, anybody above 37.5 degrees Celsius must be declined or turned back. And then the use of nose mask or face shields and sanitizers at every point. Truth is, we've kind of been used to some of these measures before now, especially if you're traveling. But at this point, what they're saying is that people should be prohibited if they don't meet up to these standards. Now, they said that a campaign is going on by the state government to prosecute all those who possess fake results or those who are giving fake results, that they're working with the DSS. Now, the truth is this: all this sounds nice and dandy. In the bid that the state government is trying to protect its own citizens and residents, Lagos being the largest metropolitan black city in the world, and with the 20 million people and about 5 million visitors on a daily basis, as we all know, we're going to have a very Merry Christmas. Already, the campaigns and adverts for various concerts and campaigns, which many of us have missed since the lockdown and the 1.5 or 2 years of the very intense COVID period, are back. And given the fact of insecurity around the nation, there are feelers that many people will not travel this year. So Lagos literally will be agog across this season. So my questions are, as with every vaccine mandate, okay, it's not new. Many countries around the world have instituted vaccine mandates to try and see how they can get people to get themselves protected. And we've seen how even Nigeria, with the discovery of the Omicron virus, has been placed on travel restrictions or bans from various nations. So we are here coordinating our own. My question is for you to actually have an effective vaccine mandate. Vaccine mandates are not punitive, they're meant to actually drive people towards vaccination. But vaccine mandate requires readiness. And when I say readiness, meaning for example, in South Africa, they've instituted a vaccine mandate on their civil servants and some types of public areas. But the issue is in South Africa, they have vaccination points literally everywhere. They're ubiquitous. South Africa, the problem is not getting the vaccine. The problem is the hesitancy or the resistance from people who have different conspiracy stories behind it. That is not our case here in Lagos. Even when the governor stated that, apart from the 30 priority areas that they will be giving, the public areas that they'll be giving free vaccination, they've included the 6,000 naira payment at the private areas. I have colleagues who have come back on trying to take their second dose. Were told that the public areas that there's no vaccine, that they should come back again. And that is the situation we're facing. The vaccine is not available. So even if you enforce this vaccine mandate, you don't even have sufficiency to be able to cater for everyone. You know the large crowds that come towards events, especially in a place like Lagos. Two, fake results. And because of when you now put in a mandate or you put in some kind of a restriction, you create the opportunity for, in quotes, rent seeking, where all these people now begin to help people who want to attend events by paying one amount of money and you get a fake card. Now, you said you produce your vaccine card with the barcode. Will you have sufficient barcode readers in every location to be able to confirm that the card was real, authentic, or it was fake? Um, it's something Lagos State really, really, really needs to look into. I would suggest that, apart from what they're expecting from the federal government, Lagos State, I think, has enough funds to be able to at least procure extra vaccines for its own citizens and residents, given that this is a state that many, many people gather, reside in, and to keep things going. Because trying to enforce a vaccine mandate when you don't have sufficiency of vaccine, I doubt it's going to work.
All right, let's move on now, and we're taking this one from Guardian newspaper. It's a pretty sad story here. Tragedy as trailer crushes 20 pupils to death in Lagos. It was a Black Tuesday in the Ojodubega area of Lagos State as a trailer rammed into school students during afternoon hours and crushed 20 of them to death. Now, the students were reported to be of Omoli Primary School and Babs Fafunwa Secondary School. Among those killed were 3 students of the same parents. Now, in reaction, students of nearby secondary schools blocked the road and pursued the trailer up to Ogba, where the driver was caught and the trailer allegedly set ablaze. Akunle.
This is another of those stories that you don't want to hear about. One of those things that you don't pray for. One of those things that you don't want to experience. From the culture of where I am from, the death of one's child is not something anybody should experience. One should not even wish it for his enemy. That's how dear we hold survival of children. And for us to read in the news in 2021 that in the afternoon, the peak hours of the day, a trailer runs into an area that is populated by students, and as at the last count, according to this report, 20 are dead. We don't know the number that are in hospitals as at now. As at the part of this report says that about 7 of them were taken to the emergency FRC center at Ojota. There's nothing to say about the status of those ones as at now. Now, there's a law, according to Lagos traffic law, there's a part of it that says that trailers, articulated vehicles, and other vehicles of certain category are not allowed to ply the roads within certain hours. I think 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day. I am certain that this truck that did this damage belongs to that category. So how is it that the truck is able to ply the road at that time when it's not supposed to be there? The report says that the driver was being pursued by either VIO, LASTMA, whatever, though FRC was also mentioned, though FRC has disclaimed it that they were not there, that they only got there after the incident. So whose responsibility is it to enforce these laws? Are these laws well circulated to the understanding of the owners and drivers of these trucks, of these vehicles? Then the issue of the issue of the report that the truck was being pursued? Okay, why is it that government officials must pursue a defaulting driver on the road when the road is being used by other people as well? That is why these type of things happen. Vehicles have registration numbers. By virtue of that, you know the address of the owner, you know the name of the owner, you know the address of the owner. The best that you can do, or the worst that you should do, is take note of the registration number and wait for the person when they are doing the registration next, even if you can't find the person's address. I mean, so there are many ways to go about these things. We can't be talking about enforcement of laws and you'll be chasing trucks around the area. Now people are dead. We're going to hear we are sorry, and then we are going to say we are going to pray that it does not happen again. Meanwhile, we know it is going to happen again, because this isn't the first time this is happening. And it is time we start to reorientate our people. As a driver, what are your responsibilities as a driver? You need to have all papers of the vehicle you are driving complete and up to date. You need to have your authorizations to drive complete and up to date. So you need to have your vehicle in proper condition, working condition, because if there is even a risk to yourself. The other bit of this story that is not in this report that I saw on some social platform, and a video somebody shared with me, was consequent upon the students of nearby schools blocking the road and protesting. Police arrived and were shooting tear gas into the school compound. We need to also reorientate our police people. We cannot talk enough about this. It is bad management of crisis, and it is important that we get to the bottom of this. I hope that we don't stop at just arresting the driver according to what the report says. I hope we get the owner of the truck itself, or ever the company that owns the truck, and make them pay for this, whichever way that punishment is going to be. We need to start setting examples that these things are not things that should happen, and we just paper over. Thank you.
Yeah, we have messages here. So, as regards to the vaccination story from Lagos now issuing strict guidelines for social events, this year, although it didn't leave your name, this is Lekon. It goes, "You're doing a great job. Contrary to what was said earlier about not having enough barcode readers, I just want to say that any smartphone can read the vaccination card barcode. I tried with my phone and it brought out all my information regarding vaccination." This is Daniel from Festac, and is reacting to the story here, and it goes, hello Smooth. In a week we have reports of 1 child bitten to death in a school, 8 found dead in a car, and now 20 killed by truck. all in Lagos, and everywhere is quiet, save for some fake rage. What kind of people are we? We're so desensitized to violence and killing of innocents. And that's from Daniel from Festac. Let's move on now to from the story here. We're going to finance, and this time finance bill. I'm coming to you, Devo, for this one. From the Punch newspaper, Buhari sends a finance bill to National Assembly. The President, Major General Muhammadu Buhari, retired on Tuesday, sent the finance bill 2021 to the two chambers of the National Assembly for consideration and approval. He said the piece of legislation would ensure effective implementation of the 2022 budget. President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, read Buhari's request on the floor of the Senate during a plenary, and Buhari said the Finance Bill 2021 seeks to support the implementation of the 2022 federal budget of economic growth and sustainability by proposing key reforms to specific taxation, customs, excise, fiscal, and other related relevant laws. Devote.
Well, the finance ministry has been making some reforms, as we know, which are supposed to enhance financial administration and management within the country. Now, the presidency did pass this to the two chambers of the National Assembly, which was read on the floor by the Senate president. And just to break down a few of the aspects that the finance bill is looking at addressing. One, it supports the implementation of Budget 2022. Two, it provides enhanced domestic revenue mobilization efforts to increase efforts in the tax and non-tax revenue areas. Okay. Also, it supports automation of the FIRS, and basically, those are just technical reforms to ensure that they can do and enhance their services to an electronic level. For example, as you know, in Lagos, there was the days when you had to go to MOT or to the state government to get your vehicle license at any of their locations until they invented auto-reg. Auto-reg brought in some efficiency where you could do it from your house or through your bank. Now, it also supports enhancements in international tax reforms around non-resident individuals, meaning people who are Nigerians but do business in Nigeria and still live outside. They can still pay their taxes. And also for companies who derive profits from Nigeria. And one of the issues here is, apart from companies who are situated here, I'm sure the issue of the Twitter saga comes to people's minds of how a company, even though it operates in the cyberspace, profits within the country and doesn't pay any tax. There are many companies who fall into that zone. One of the two, there was no mention about the VAT disputes over states and FIRS collection and sharing ratios. However, one of the interesting issues is that you can see now that there's no brouhaha when the government is referring to international tax reforms against non-resident individuals, meaning Nigerians who do some business here but live abroad, okay? But when it came to voting for non-resident Nigerians to change or to make their choice known or to carry out their franchise, we have gone back and forth on electronic voting for the diaspora. So you can see where the government has its eyes on. That's just on the lighter side, just to show you. There's no heat over that one. But when it comes to, okay, introduce the same electronic capacity for Nigerians who are outside to be able to vote, we begin to follow the long road. Well, we hope that the Senate will pass it in time so that it can be appropriated and do its work.
All right, still on finance and economy, but this time productivity. We're taking this from the Guardian newspaper. CBN releases modalities to boost productivity, earmarks 5 billion loan for investors. The federal government has refuted parts of a report by the Intergovernmental Action. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, on Tuesday released guidelines for its. I'm going to take that again. The Central Bank of Nigeria, Nigeria, CBN, on Tuesday released guidelines for its production and productivity initiative through the 100 projects for every 11 days project. Information in the Apex Bank's website revealed that the initiative was designed to support the federal government's drive towards boosting productivity and economic diversification. It also stated that a maximum loan of 5 billion naira per oblogo would be approved under the initiative, adding that any amount above 5 billion naira would require special approval of its management. Lakunle.
Kudos must be given to the CBN for thinking through and making these funds available. For the reasons that are stated here, it is meant for long-term, it's meant as a long-term loan. What long-term means, this report does not say. So I'm assuming long-term meaning 10 years, all right? Because that's minimum long-term would mean. Okay, so if this is made available to going concerns in manufacturing, it means then that they can have money for acquiring plants and machinery and working capital. It then might then help us to reduce the dependence on importing finished products. It means then that we can have manufacturing, and they are focusing on industries in the healthcare and pharmaceuticals, logistics services, petrochemicals and renewable energy, agriculture and agro processing and extractive industries. So it's there for people to apply, and they've stated all the things that any organization applying need to do. You can get up to a maximum of 5 billion per organization, and I hope that the relevant ministries or agencies of government will be the one leading this, and CBN is just making the money available, because like I always maintain, the job of the CBN is not to drive business, it's just to do monetary policies, right? And so in this regard, I hope that the Ministry of Labor and Productivity, the Ministry of Industry, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, for purposes of vetting where the equipment they will be buying will be coming from, and so on and so forth, are involved, such that everything will be as smooth as you can then vet and be sure that the money CBN is giving out is actually being used for exactly what it is meant to be used for. Kudos to CBN for making these monies available. We thank them.
All right, we have messages here. This is from YouTube, Ikechuku Ogwatu, and it goes, a government agency was doing the chase. They should take full responsibility. Let's start from there, and is reacting to the tragedy that happened yesterday. This one is from Tosan, and she goes, good morning, everyone. For the vaccination, someone who doesn't know what is really happening. After registering for the vaccine, it took me 1 month to get my first dose of the vaccine. Every time I went, I would be told there's no material on ground until after a month before I finally got my first dose. Now, another issue is the Moderna vaccine. At the vaccination center where I registered, people who collected Moderna vaccine as their first can't get their second until further notice. The people at the center said that they can't say when those who collected the Moderna vaccine is in their dose will collect their second dose. Even January isn't a guarantee for them. So you can't be mandating people to collect vaccines, yet the vaccines aren't available. And as for fake tests and fake vaccines cards, well, this is happening at so many centers. On the day I finally was able to collect my first dose of the vaccine, I saw them signing vaccine cards and putting names of people with dates on it. While one signed the vaccine card, another took it out of the vaccine center to meet someone. Even a lady I met at the vaccine center said that her sister said that if you are afraid of taking the vaccine, you can pay 10,000 naira and you will get a vaccination card, and that has been signed twice, showing you have taken the 2 doses of the vaccination. And I am not surprised. Let's move on now to the Punch newspaper, shall we? We're going to this one from Yeah, it's from this day, I beg your pardon. Buhari sacks Abuja Disco Board over prolonged eternal wrangling. President Muhammadu Buhari Tuesday sacks the management of the Abuja Electricity Distribution Company following a prolonged internal power tussle among the owners of the company, which has affected the welfare of the staff of the distribution company. The vote.
Yes, the headline actually says everything, but it sounds somehow because I would also like to hear that Buhari sacks the commission or the board or the management of all the non-performing ministries, departments, and agencies. So I'm really wondering the particular attention, or even whether the probity, or whether it's right for the presidency to actually interfere or have direct influence on the functioning of a disco. As we know, these discos were given life with the reforms from the PHCN, and the Abuja disco covers Kogi, the FCT, Nasarawa, Kaduna, and some parts of Edo states. Now, this sack was accelerated by the recent industrial action carried out by the staff who were pushing the non-payment of arrears on pensions, allowances, salaries, and promotion. Now, the presidency sack letter uh, uh, went to the disco management, asking them to step aside while a what do you call it? An interim governing board would be put in place, while the BPE was instructed, that's the Bureau of Public Enterprise, was instructed to set up a new management. Now, this was all over boardroom brouhaha that had been taking place a long time over the owners of the companies, that's the board of directors and the various ownership companies that were battling over ownership, presence, withdrawals, and selection back and forth. Obviously, this led to the running down of the disco. Now, whilst it's in order to get the Abuja disco working properly, but like I said, how this has gone about, I'm wondering what is the position of NERC? That's the regulatory body. I haven't heard anything from them. I would have expected that such a position would come from the regulatory board and not the presidency. That's just is it because it's in Abuja? So what happens to us in Lagos who operate under two other discos? So when we don't have performance, is the presidency going to come and interfere, or is he going to step in? What happens to NSARS and the reactions over the brutality coming from police? Is the presidency going to interfere in the police management? I mean, we spent how many years having a many different arms of government, the army, the police, where people had insisted that the presidency take action and he didn't. So I'm really wondering what has happened here. And it would be right to get a legal or constitutional position on whether this move by the presidency is in order.
All right, great stuff. We're pretty much out of time right now. I'm really sorry, but I want to take this final story here. This is Sylvester Oromuni's story. It's coming from the Punch newspaper. This is a follow-up from the alleged bullying case. Now, the Lagos State Commissioner of Police, Hakeem Odumosi, says that 3 students of the Dowen College in the Lekki area of the state are currently in police custody for allegedly assaulting 12-year-old Sylvester Oromoni. Now, Odumusu, who spoke with the Punch on Tuesday morning, also said 2 other students of the school fingered in the assault are now at large, adding that those in police custody are helping the command with information on how to track them.
Quickly, this case is now on the police. Earlier on, they've insisted that there had not been a formal complaint. So the commissioner saying this now we assume that then there's been a formal complaint. And it's now on them to ensure that everything is done to uncover and apprehend and appropriate the right people that are involved in this matter. And then for us, the public, we should not sleep on this. We have slept on 2 other cases earlier this year. There was one in one school in Akwa Ibom. There was one in Abuja. I think we slept on those 2. And when we sleep on these kind of things, it keeps happening. So this one, let's use this one as the bus stop for this kind of things happening. and everybody involved must be, so the two that are at large, the police, the federal government, everybody must do everything possible to get them. We must also not let them slip out of this. No matter what happens, no expense must be spared in getting this to a conclusion. The boy that died deserved justice, and we must help the government to serve this justice, and it must be seen that it has been served.
Yes, and now that the police are on it, I don't think they can even escape. If they like, fly to Finland. The parents are available. Hold the parents down, and you will get the children. Now, the state government should put a timeline on this. It shouldn't be left open. There should be something like under 5 days. I want to see results of what happened, because the matter is pretty straightforward, and the police can only handle the criminal side. There is still the school management side that the educational board of Lagos State needs to look into, not just for Doen, but for as many both public and private schools who are suffering very hazardous case of bullying that has become a rampant issue, and even cultism in our secondary schools.
We have messages here. This is Fabian from Ekpe. Good morning, Judith and everyone. Sad news today. May the souls of these children, through the mercy of God, rest in peace, and may God comfort their families. Amen.
Amen.
I wonder how many lives should be lost before the state government persecutes drivers of this truck and heavy utility vehicles and make others obey the laid down rules. This is Yinka here. It comes with, this is our final message. I recently precised a vehicle plate number and I paid as high as 65,000 naira. So it's strange that with such an insane amount being paid, we still can't track vehicles, but rather rely on high-speed chase, resulting into deaths. We go about and see some buses, and you wonder if they have roadworthiness paper. Instead, they keep doing agidi for private car owners. And then he goes on to say, when I hear that secondary school students are at large, I get confused. At large to where? Please arrest their families, starting with their father and mother. And that brings us to the very end of the show. Thank you so much, guys, for coming. You can find Lakunle on Instagram. It's at Lakunle70, and Devo is at Devo Okori. Guys, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. This brings us to the very end of Freshly Pressed 981. Coming up at 8:10 a.m. It's going to be time for Lagos Talks. It's going to be a special one. Stay with us.
You first. First Bank.
You first.
They can escape.
They can't. This is too sad. I beg.
It's just that it was so short. Whatever.
Yeah.
Nobody, even the commissioner should not even said that with his mouth.
How can you say that
That
they're
they
at large?
escaped. They're at large. How?
Where are they at large into? Where are
The
they going
principal
to?
of that school, they should be hanging the principal upside down
And-
because
well,
she was the
she
one
was
that had allowed them to leave the school.
No,
Huh?
it's okay that.
And then secondly, you're not saying that it's a football match. But
all
you
those
don't
ones- all those ones are even- all of those ones are even
You did
secondary.
not act fast.
It's
No one
okay.
even pay me pass. See ever care down the road.
And they were dodging now, but even if
Ever
they're
care
at
they
large,
down the road.
are the parents at large? The parents discipline.
Yes, this was see, eh?
Hold the parents. Don't worry now. Hold the parents. There's no big
There's
deal.
no
See
big
ever
deal.
care down road, down for road.
Book the parents down in prison.
Everybody's
will show
going
up.
down.
It's a simple thing. You know hard. No, there's no big
I
deal
was
here.